Good Sunday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Joe Chaffee. I took Saturday off. It was such a busy week last week between the tropical storm, and then we had two confirmed tornadoes in Howell Township in New Jersey. And if you want to see one of those tornadoes, somebody grabbed a great video outside of Home Depot. And if you look on my YouTube channel under the favorites section, I have it right there. Take a look at it because there was some controversy yesterday. The Weather Service was taking its time confirming, getting confirmation of this, and for a little while was insisting that it was straight line wind damage when the video clearly shows it was a funnel cloud in the Home Depot parking lot in Howell Township. And there actually were two tornadoes, I believe, that were confirmed. So take a look at that video. Very well shot. And you can find more information on that on my Facebook page and on my website, meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Okay, so let's look at the pattern going forward. Really, there isn't too much change going on. We're starting off, we have this trough, a very deep trough for this time of year. Over eastern Canada, swinging out of the Midwest. We have a ridge in the west and, big upper high sitting down in southern Arizona. So that's been bringing hot weather to the southwest. And it's hot weather. That's what they get down there. Okay, I don't know. I still am not quite understanding the hyperbole that's going on to some degree with regards to those temperatures that they're seeing in Arizona and in parts of southeastern California. This is what happens in the summertime, folks. It gets hot down there. There's a desert. Okay. So anyway, this is our weather pattern that we have been pretty much seeing persistently through the month of June, with the occasional ridge that pops up along the East Coast. And as we move into next week, we've got another arm that comes around. You can see it right there. That's just basically going to reinforce the dry air that's overhead. The ridge in the west gets flattened to a certain extent, and right down here is what'll probably be Hurricane Dora in the Pacific, and we'll show you that in just a little bit. So that trough in the east swings out. You get a bit of a flat ridge that develops at the end of the week. But one of the things we're noticing over the last several days is this ridge in the east that pops up is flatter and flatter and flatter. You can see from a couple of days ago, the ridge axis was going to be something like this and pushing up into southern New England. Now it's pretty flat because there's another system that's coming down and around. And this is, by the way, something I've said before, kind of picked up on this developing back through late April, where the ridges in the east are tending to hang around for a shorter and shorter duration, and the troughs in the east are hanging around longer and longer. And that pattern continues. So as long as the ridges in the east can't fly up and get strong and sit there, you can't really get a heat wave in the eastern part of the United States for more than, so you can't get 90-degree readings for more than a day or two. As we move through the 4th of July week, the jet stream remains pretty active right just south of the Canadian border. Okay, there's a flat ridge that extends from the Atlantic all the way across the southern half of the United States. So there for the area here, that's typical summertime heat and humidity. And you get these short waves that kind of move through here in the north. So for the northern mid-Atlantic and the northeast, it means cold fronts coming through every couple of days. And really not much change through the first half of July. This would certainly suggest that we will continue to get these intrusions of drier air and temperatures that'll be close to seasonal and weather conditions that'll be comfortable more often than not. There will be the odd days here and there where it will get warm and more humid, or even hot with temperatures close to 90. But again, with this pattern like this, they would tend to be few and far between. So let's first off, we'll go back. Let's look at what's going on. In terms of the radar this morning, early today, there really isn't too much that's going to be happening today. There'll be some areas of showers and thunderstorms across the southern part of the United States, but nothing that's being generated by any kind of major system. And we also have some showers and some storms that will probably go along the northern tier in the colder, unstable air that's swinging around from that trough to the north. But again, other than that, I'm not really looking for too much happening, and there's not going to be too much happening out in the west. Here's the satellite loop today, and you can dry air in the northeast with just a few patchy clouds. You can see where the tropical moisture is getting involved in producing some clouds and showers and thunderstorms from place to place across the southeastern U.S. and back through Texas. Again, this is nothing out of the ordinary. And out in the west, we've got here's the low cloudiness. You can see it here. There's actually, if you look carefully, the low cloudiness, there's some kind of system here out off the Pacific Northwest coast. The Pacific West, off the California coast, well off the California coast. It doesn't have much in the way of precipitation at all, but just a lot of low clouds that are rotating around in a counterclockwise fashion here, and that's really it. I mean, we've got some action down with the heat-related storms developing across parts of the southern and central Rockies and into Nebraska and Kansas, and also a little bit of action in parts of maybe some heat-induced thunderstorms or even dry thunderstorms in parts of Arizona and on up into Nevada. But other than that, it's a pretty ordinary view. Here's the water vapor imagery, so we can take a quick look at the tropics. And, there's not too much happening on the Atlantic side. We've got the what we call the intertropical convergence zone, and that's where we oftentimes get tropical waves that develop and move along it. And you can see there's a little bit of activity there starting to increase, but there's nothing that poses any threat of becoming a tropical storm anytime soon, or even a tropical depression. You've got a lot of dry air in the darker brown shades you can see here evident. You move out to the west and in the Gulf of Mexico, there's a lot of moisture, and right here, this is Tropical Storm Dora that was upgraded this morning, and this is going to be this is probably going to wind up being a Pacific hurricane. It looks like it has a shot of becoming a minimal hurricane, but and it's bringing some heavy rains to parts of the south coast of Mexico, but this is going to be moving out to the east. You can see it here. And actually, outside of just some northern bands here, there really isn't too much going on along the south coast of Mexico at the moment anyway. But it's pretty well defined in terms of its cloud structure. Moving out offshore, this is going to be one of those offshore systems that you'll never hear from again, and it'll just be one for the record books. But I kind of like to show them to you. So we sometimes, and we saw what happened with the formation of Cindy coming out of that band of moisture that extended back into the Caribbean. Models were hinting yesterday that there was a possibility of something like that happening sometime late in the forecast period, down after the 4th of July at least. But you know what? We're going to wait. The last couple of runs hasn't shown anything, so I'm not going to get, I don't get too worked up about these things. So we're going to look at the U.S. real fast so that I can get you guys out the door and enjoying your Sunday. And let me just backtrack it. Okay, so, here's our trough in the east, and with upper air disturbances swinging along it to reinforce the cool, dry air, there are areas of showers that might develop late tomorrow in upstate New York and around the Great Lakes, but they disappear. They pick up in intensity during the afternoon and evening and then dry up after that. But for the coastal areas and, for the coastal plain, other than a few passing clouds, there really isn't anything to worry about. And then we have the high that drops down Tuesday night into Wednesday with the last surge of dry air. That high moves offshore, and you start to see temperatures warm up a bit and the humidity start to come up. Not so much on Thursday, but probably on Friday. For sure on Friday, there's a good west wind and warm air. So Friday we have a shot of going to 90, but you can already start to see the next weather system coming around in the Great Lakes and heading into the Northeast for next weekend. And we'll see how that plays. But ultimately, it's going to be weather front after weather front coming through with warm and humid periods right ahead of them, and then drier air coming in behind them. That doesn't change. And then when we look out in the west, just real fast, there's really not too much happening there this week other than, the diurnal showers and thunderstorms that develop. And by the way, you can see in the lower corner there what is Tropical Storm or possibly Hurricane Dora, minimal system. And that moves out and then dies in the cold waters of the Pacific, as they almost all do. Again, in the west, really not too much happening. And we don't see any kind of influx of tropical moisture. Here's the 4th of July, by the way, which looks like a very warm, humid day in the east with the chance for some scattered thunderstorms. But, nothing crazy. And again, going forward, we're at that time of year now where it's going to be hard to pick outside of a tropical system, and it's really going to be hard to pick out specific weather events unless you have a really well-defined frontal system coming through. So we're going to just have to take it in slow mode until such time that we have some weather systems to really sink our teeth into. Have a great Sunday, folks, and thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I got 100 new subscribers last week. I want to give you guys all a big welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. Check out some of the instructional videos I have that I put up in case you want to gain, if you'd like to gain a better understanding of weather and how I do things in terms of my approach. I will throw up explainers, and they could help you understand how the atmosphere works just a little bit better. And don't get frustrated, by the way, if some of the stuff is over your head when I get a little bit technical. If you watch the videos long enough, you'll have these light bulb moments where suddenly it'll start to all make sense. And then after a while, you won't have any issues at all getting on with all of this. So have a great Sunday, and we'll talk to you on Monday.